Hi world, it's about 10 to 2 in the afternoon on, blimey, Wednesday the 28th of September 2022. Continuing the theme of yesterday, I'm looking at particular sun and moon combinations, and via a random number generator I came up with number 129, which translates as Aquarius with the moon in Sagittarius. Sun sign Aquarius, moon sign Sagittarius. Now Aquarians are traditionally, not that that word fits with Aquarius, but they're seen as the oddballs of the zodiac. They're the ones who like wearing a lot of electric blue. They're the ones with who wear three-piece suits with a bright pink handkerchief sticking out the top. They're the ones who are different in some way, not better or worse, but different. Aquarian energy is very much given towards the future, towards community, towards social engagement and interaction, but it's also around the unpredictable, the unusual, the innovative, the original. Moon in Sagittarius, I'm biased, aren't I? I mean, I've got the moon in Sag, but people with the moon in Sagittarius, they tend to be, they're not subtle, tactful or diplomatic. They are straightforward and honest. The older they get, the more simple they become. Not simple in terms of stupidity, but simple in terms of, well, yes, no, black, white, this works, this doesn't. It's simple, not complicated. Moon in Sagittarius wants to travel a lot when they're younger, not for parties or beaches or holidays, but for culture study and anthropology and ethnicity. As they age, they look for the wisdom, the domain of the wise, the words, the knowledge that lies behind the words. They look for meaning more than understanding. So if you put the nature of sun sign Aquarius together with the moon in Sagittarius, then you've got the free thinker and the futuristic, innovative side of Aquarius with the direct, straight shootingness of the moon in Sagittarius, and it's quite a nice combination. It works well. So here's the charts of a number of people who have got the sun in Aquarius and the moon in Sagittarius. We'll start from the most distant ones up to the present day. Wolfgang Mozart was an Aquarius with the moon in Sagittarius. He had the exact conjunction, precise 1 minute of 1 degree, of the moon in Sagittarius with Pluto, which gave him, although he didn't realise it because Pluto wasn't discovered at the time he was born, but it gave him a very deep, fundamental psychological insight into human patterns of behaviour. He was also born with the sun in Aquarius exactly conjunct Mercury opposite Neptune. So he responded to a different vibration than most of us. He truly was a genius, and he sung to a very different beat and rhythm to the rest of humanity. Also, Charles Dickens was an Aquarius with the moon in Sagittarius. He had the moon conjunct Neptune in Sagittarius and the moon conjunct Ceres. Moon conjunct Ceres is very much about nurturing, especially those that can't nurture themselves. And the moon conjunct Ceres and Neptune gives a great degree of empathy, compassion and kindness. All of this was square his Venus-Pluto in Pisces, which does make him a little bit overboard on the compassion and empathy. But his sun in Aquarius was sextile the moon in Sagittarius. So to me, Dickens, with all of his writings, exploring the issues of poverty and abandonment in the Victorian era, to me, typical Aquarian. And with Sagittarius rising, he didn't pull his punch. It was Sagittarius moon. He didn't pull his punches. 20 years further on, January 1932, Lewis Carroll, the author of Alice in Wonderland, Aquarius, sun with the moon in Sagittarius. He had the sun sextile the moon and the sun sextile Pluto in Aries. So his ideas of even though Pluto wasn't discovered, he still had some ideas of using his skills to transform the world. And he had the moon rising at the moment of his birth. He was born with the moon exactly on the ascendant. So his ability to put emotion and feeling into his works at an in-depth psychological level was remarkable. And it's amazing how much Alice in Wonderland still is such a relevant book today. Further on in time, we've done Dickens. What else have we got? We've got the horoscope of Carroll, the singer-songwriter, Aquarius with the moon in Sagittarius. She was born with the sun pretty strongly square Saturn, hard worker, someone who's born old, gets younger as she gets older, will grow old disgracefully, kicking and screaming, becoming more and more cantankerous, but she'll keep her marbles and her mobility till the day she dies, and she does seem to have old bones. The moon in her chart was exactly opposite Jupiter at the moment she was born. Her music's always inspired people. It's expanded people's philosophies. She's always someone who walks her talk. With the moon in Sagittarius, ruled by Jupiter, exactly opposite Jupiter, the way she lives life according to her own beliefs and philosophies, and the way she walks her talk is always going to be a strong one for her. John Belushi, one half of the Blues Brothers, was an Aquarius with the moon in Sagittarius. His chart is such a dichotomy. He had the Mars-Mercury conjunction opposite Pluto, as well as the moon in Sagittarius opposite Uranus. So his capacity for risk-taking was eventually the undoing of him. The sun in Sagittarius was hardly affected. And finally, Oprah Winfrey, Aquarius with the moon in Sagittarius. Sun square Saturn, so similar to Carroll. She will live to be a ripe old age. And she'll get younger as she gets older. The moon in Sagittarius is relatively unaspected, but to me, she's someone who's straightforward, a straight shooter, says what she thinks. And that's the notion of Aquarius with the moon in Sagittarius. If you always tell the truth, you never have to remember what you said. It's easy to be direct, clear and concise with people rather than beating around the bush. There's not that much room for feeling and emotion with these two positions, but it more than makes up for this by its direct, assertive and projective nature, especially when it comes to dealing with the things that need talking about, whether it's mass poverty or anything else. There you go, folks. Aquarius with the moon in Sagittarius. Hope that helps. Bye.